Yeah, so we're power scaling Kagurabachi with 17 chapters out before it gets canceled. Kagurabachi, the greatest long running shonen with only 17 chapters out, is already amazing, and its power system is no exception. I think the previous shonen of the past left a bad taste in everybody's mouth with all the talking and droning and character development because these new shonen get straight to it. They're all gas, no breaks, and I love it. This video is in no particular order, and I'm going to be talking about anything I can gather from the power system itself to speed feats and strengths and other things. But forget all that. Let's talk about Datsensaki and Rokuhira Konishige. Datsensaki is the metal used to forge the swords, of which there are 7, all created by Konishige, 6 of which were created in the past and helped to stop an unknown event from that time, described as a hell on earth. The last one was created right before his death and given to his son, our main character, Chihiro. This is a world of sorceries and swords. The sorcerer's abilities can vary greatly depending on the person. Since it's so early in the series, it hasn't been described how the powers exactly manifest, but we know where they come from, and that's spirit energy, otherwise known as Genryoku. Spirit energy is something that dwells inside everyone in Kagurabachi and is essentially life force. Sorcerers can manipulate this life force, shaping it into physical form. Some sorcerers can create clones of themselves, form Daruma balls that are grenades, manipulate the earth, set spells on people with conditions, and there's even a character who can make you relive your worst experiences in a space where seconds feel like hours. The sorceries shown so far in the series are varied and interesting, and with only 17 chapters out, what more can I say? My guy is cooking. And we haven't even talked about the swords. The swords in Kagurabachi, from what I gather, are essentially wands. Each of them enhances a sorcerer's energy so much that it can't be contained and takes its own shape. Different from a regular sorcerer's spells because the shape that it takes is in a form of an element or a natural reaction so far. Also, they all have their own innate abilities themselves. But as we know in shonen, limits are meant to be broken. Each sword has 3 abilities as of right now, and we know of 2. Enten, the goldfish sword of Chihiro, and Cloud Gouger, the thunder/lightning sword of the first villain, Sojo. Starting with Enten, the first ability is called Kuro, which is a long-range mid-air slash of spirit energy at anyone in front of the blade. There is also Akka, which is absorption of spirit energy, and there seems to be 2 forms of it. There is Black, which is a base ability, and Red, which seemingly reflects the energy back out. The third ability is Nishiki, which is wearing. It coats Chihiro in spirit energy and decreases the density of the blade. I'm not sure if it's attached to Nishiki, but there's a moment where in the first encounter with Sojo, Chihiro's speed greatly increases after he uses Nishiki, so I don't know what's up with that. And also in the newest chapter, it seems to imply that Chihiro's base speed is just really high when he's in a certain stage of the battle, maybe. I'm not sure yet. It's the beginning of the series still, man. Get off my fucking back. And the fourth ability is Scatter, which is a flurry of multiple mini Kuro attacks that use the same amount of physical energy as a normal Kuro, but in turn uses more spirit energy. This sword is very strong as of right now, and with the spirits of Chihiro's childhood dreams inside of it, the goldfish sword Enten is already formidable. The next sword we know of is Cloud Gouger. This is the sword held by Sojo, a member of the Yakuza. Cloud Gouger has 3 innate abilities, and 4 we've seen so far. The first one is Yui, which is an ice spell that shoots out from the sword. A lot of these abilities are often combined together or used after one another for a new effect, which is something sorcerers can do with their swords. This adds another layer to the combat. The second ability of Cloud Gouger is Ku. It is a water-based ability and it's basically just Yui except water this time. Mei is the third and marquee ability of Cloud Gouger and coats the sword with Genryoku, taking the form of lightning. While having an interval of 20 seconds before being used again, This ability is typically deadly before that. The user can then shoot the Jinryoku out of the sword at the opponent at the speed of said lightning, making this attack basically undodgeable for everybody in the verse so far, but apparently not unreactable, and we'll get into that later after we talk about the fourth and final ability of Cloud Gouger, which is thus far unnamed. This ability seems to give the wielder the speed and destructive capacity of the Mei itself, as the user casts a spell to emit electricity and uses the sword as a lightning rod, teleporting to it seemingly at the speed of lightning. Taking the lightning into oneself, this appears to make the ability also last longer than a single use. As of now, in the hands of Madman Sojo, this sword is only going to get more powerful as it seems. Now, on to the strength side of things. There's not much going on thus far. There's a panel of a sorcerer hitting Chihiro with enough force to knock him around, also make him fly through the air. And there is a panel near the end of Sojo's fight with the Kamunabi, where he blows through a large chunk of earth. Not really easy to gauge how big it is. There are some buildings under in the panel, but the perspective kind of makes it a little weird. So as of now, just to be safe, we're going to assume strength is just kind of wonky. When the author gives us something, we'll cover it. But the same cannot be said about speed at fucking all. For some reason in Kagurabachi, speed is already nuts. The first smaller example of speed feats that we see are Chihiro just perception blitzing most of the people he comes across, moving so fast most can't even react when he is at his top speed, catching people like Sojo off guard. And in the latest chapter, there's a panel that even implies that Sojo himself thinks Chihiro is faster than him. This is the same Sojo who later in the manga casts a spell that moves him at seemingly the speed of lightning, and Sojo is able to attack each of the Kamunabi he is fighting off, chopping off limbs mid-technique before they can even realize he is moved. There's also Azumai, who moves so fast he arrives to stop Chihiro from drawing his sword before anyone even noticed he was there, or that he made an entrance in the first place. Chihiro himself is seen chasing down a moving vehicle on foot, which is also seemingly speeding since their goal was to trick him, and they blew the fuck up afterwards when they crashed. There's also two feats that can be interpreted how you want as well, because I feel they're very open. But these both are more kind of movement speed feats. The first one is going to be when Chihiro reacts to the lightning strike and takes it within his sword, stopping the impact. This to me is some ridiculous movement speed and kind of reaction speed as well, already at the start of the manga putting Chihiro in basically lightning timer speed. The other feat is pretty open-ended as well. At the beginning of the fight with Sojo, one of the hit squad members says in a panel, "The ocean is 2 kilometers ahead." The battle starts in the city. As the squad is trying to avoid casualties, they move the battlefield. After Sojo defeats them and is about to fight Chihiro, there's a panel that shows rubble of the structure they had the battle on in the sea, along with a panel saying that it happened a few seconds ago. This to me implies that Sojo has traveled potentially 2 kilometers in 4 fucking seconds. This, as well as the lightning shit, could be a reach, but from what we've seen so far, it's yet to be known how far the author is willing to take the speed scaling inside of the series. All I've said is definitely a lot to take in. I haven't even covered Char's family power of healing, which is seemingly related to spells, but can apparently not be replicated outside of her family, and is described as an ability within her blood. In closing remarks, I'd like to say thank you for watching and listening to me power scale a manga that only has 17 chapters out, and will probably have everything I've said debunked in this video by next year. As you guys can already tell, Kagurabachi is on course to being the greatest shonen we've ever seen, and it's not even fucking close. That's it from me. Do all the YouTube stuff. Undead, Unluck video probably coming out never. I'm out.